Benny. 24 hours ago, Tucker Carlson claimed to have been detained and interrogated in Israel when he was there to interview the ambassador from America to Israel. His name is Mike Huckabee. Tucker Carlson made a big to-do about going to Israel and doing this interview. Mike Huckabee also quite loudly proclaiming that he's going to defend the state of Israel, and the two of them had their interview moment. And then afterwards, Tucker said, I was detained at the airport. They took our passports. They were bullying us. And that led to a huge back and forth. Tucker Carlson said this happened. The state of Israel said it didn't. The airport security and everything said we were all kind and nice to him. And who's right? Well, Tucker has finally dropped his interview with Mike Huckabee and explained the entire story. And since we've been following it very closely, we thought we'd give you a recap of what we now know. The reason why we care about this is because, well, we have a show. We have a pretty big audience. And we would like to go interview world leaders as well. We have some projects in the works and a new series in the works. And we might be doing this. Is this allowed? If you ask uncomfortable questions, are you able to practice your American rights of free speech on foreign soil if you're speaking to, let's say, an American ambassador? Like, will you be protected? And this is a critical question. Or will you be imprisoned? We went to Cuba once for a documentary and got raided by the government. They tried to take all of our SD cards and our camera. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I hope you don't mind that I've become a little obsessed with all of this. And what we were calling for was for them to release all of the footage. And lo and behold, yesterday we got a small clip, a short clip. And this was the clip. It was Tucker Carlson taking a photo with a gentleman at the airport. We didn't really know who the gentleman was or what he was doing. But nonetheless, Tucker Carlson, seemingly not under duress at all at the airport, and taking a photo, a selfie, with an Israeli, presumably. And so everybody said, wait, this isn't Tucker getting interrogated. Nothing bad happened here. Tucker Carlson is lying to you. And Tucker explains this airport selfie and then explains precisely what happened actually in the interrogation with his staff and with his producers. So here we go. This is the piece of evidence that everybody said, no, Tucker, it's not true.
Last thing, the Israelis apparently went, probably with the help of Mike Huckabee, went to the surveillance tape inside the diplomatic terminal and pulled some clip. And they're, of course, getting all their little bots online to promote it, of me with my arm around somebody to show that actually I'm lying about what happened. That person was our driver who drove us from the plane to the terminal, a short drive. Very nice guy, good guy, Israeli guy. And right when we arrived, and he said, could I get a picture? Of course. He's a nice man. So I just put my arm around him, took a picture. That's what that is. That was before the interview. It was before our producers were hassled by the thugs and asked ridiculous questions. It was before any of this happened. So that's just another installment of the propaganda war. Thought we'd give you the backstory on that.
So again, this has been wild back and forth. What actually happened? It is fascinating to me that they didn't give the context here. They just leaked this video of the driver. And the guy does kind of look like a driver, right? He's not wearing any type of military uniform or any type of security uniform. You can tell that he's wearing a pair of jeans, right? He has his car keys jangling from his pocket. He does look like a driver, actually. And it looks like Tucker was like signing in or something to that effect. And it seemed cordial enough. But there's no context to this. And this goes viral. This is seen by 1 million people. It was all over my timeline of people saying that Tucker's a liar, but there's critical context missing here. And Tucker now explains what actually happened. Weirdest experiences of my life, Tucker on being interrogated in Israel following his interview with Mike Huckabee. Here's just
so my business partner and I were standing there. We've never left the airport, never went anywhere. But our two producers have spent the night before in Tel Aviv, and they're called into rooms and given the third degree. Now, keep in mind, they're about to get on a plane and leave. In fact, we're late. We have to get out of there. We have a slot to get out. And security, whoever this is, won't won't let them go. So I don't really know what's going on at this point. I'm like, where are our guys? We got to get out of here. So one of them comes out and he says, that was the weirdest experience in my life. They asked me questions about the interview. Who did you speak to? Keep in mind, this was like 8 feet from where we did the interview. Well, the U.S. ambassador. I'm like, Huckabee, what did you talk about? Why did you ask those questions? Was it a hostile interview? And of course, everything in the diplomatic terminal is taped. Everything in Israel is taped. It's a police state. It's a surveillance state, obviously. You go to Israel, they put software on your phone. Everybody knows this. They're constantly spying on you more than probably any other country. And so they know the answers to these questions. But they're asking my producer, like, where do you work? How many people work there? Do you go to the office? Where is the office? What are their names? They're doing like an intel op and humiliation exercise on my producer. This isn't security. We're leaving right now. And they're holding his passport. The interrogator is holding the passport in his hand as he's asking these questions. So he's telling me this. And I said, this is the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. Huckabee's gone by this point. You're an American citizen who's just had a conversation with the U.S. ambassador, and some thug is demanding details of that conversation? And I hope you didn't answer. And he's like, no, I didn't. I don't know what to say. Meanwhile, our last guy, the youngest man who was traveling with us, our last producer, is still in a room being questioned. So I pull over one of the guys and said, we got to get out of here. So I don't know what this is about. It's outrageous. And, there's nothing I can do about this point, but we got to go. And this woman comes up to me and says, look, let's just go. We're going to bring you to the plane and he'll come later. I said, no, it's my producer. He's being interrogated, asked totally over the top, fully inappropriate questions that have nothing to do with security at all. Pull up your website, show us your text exchanges with other people on your staff. What are your politics like? And again, what did you say to the U.S. ambassador and what did he say back to you? Those are not relevant questions if you're trying to keep your country secure. Those are intel questions. And they're over the top. And I said, I want this guy out now. Let's go. We got to go. And they said, no, just leave him here. We'll bring him to the plane later. Twice they told me that. Just leave your guy behind. No, I don't think so.
Tucker Carlson talks about how he then got enraged and how he demanded that his staff get released. Eventually, they were released and they got out. But, well, wouldn't that be an insane thing to lie about if it's all on camera? This is what makes me angry about all this, is that clearly there was an op here to discredit this story. Now, if it's true, then release all of the footage. Don't release this. This was a lie. This was his driver. Looks like a driver. It doesn't look like a security official. Looks like his driver. And he's behaving like a driver. He's not behaving like a security guy. Looks like a paper pusher. And a goofball and a fan. He asked for a photo. The guy. They leaked this. Israeli forces leaked this. Israeli intel, whatever, leaked this in order to make Tucker look bad. But they won't put out the actual.
It will show up on Wednesday.
They won't put out the other actual video of what Tucker is alleging is like them interviewing, interrogating, detaining his producers, the people who work for him, and intimidating them. Because, of course, I think it's a wholly inappropriate question. What did you talk to the ambassador about? I mean, show me all your texts. Show me your phone. These are completely inappropriate questions. And then holding somebody's passport up, especially when you're leaving the country, right? When you're on your way out. If you're on your way in, I think there's some real legitimate, you can have some major legitimate security barriers. And I know America does, and I'm happy for that. But like, if you're on your way out, it seems like it's harassment. It really does. So release the full footage. Now I feel like I've been lied to because I covered that footage of Tucker taking a selfie, assuming that was what all it was. But it turns out it wasn't. So you deserve to know. Ultimately, Tucker, comes to the conclusion that the American government and the American ambassador is there to work on behalf of Israel and not on behalf of the American people.
Again, the question, who exactly is Huckabee working for? We're American citizens in a foreign country. He's our ambassador. He represents our country. We pay his salary, but he's taking the side of the foreign government without even calling to say, hey, what happened to you at the airport? Did you get hassled? Did your guys get hassled? No. He just immediately repeats their lies without even consulting us. So, like, what are we looking at here? We're looking at the reality, which is if you're an American in Israel, you can be certain that your government will take the side of the Israeli government and not your side.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is actually what Tucker Carlson went to Israel to investigate. And the interview that he has with Mike Huckabee is rowdy and fascinating and unbelievable. We'll be covering more of that as we get through it. But since we've been on top of the story, I thought that it would be important to let both sides breathe. And the reality is that since there's video cameras everywhere, I call for the release of the footage to show it. If it really was just Tucker rambling like a Hallmark movie through the airport, taking selfies with people and giggling, then release that footage. And if it's not, then show us what actually happened, right? This 19-second snippet of Tucker's taking a selfie, that doesn't do it, because that's not his full experience. That was him arriving with his driver. And if it's all not true, then why make those claims? I'll let you decide in the comment section. It's your boy Benny.